I wouldn't be rocking up to the game wearing that. It's like dad, and then it's a number one, and it's not even a goalkeeper. Like, I fucking hate it.
Is it just Arsenal and City, or could Slot actually do it in his first season? The 7-0 from Liverpool.
Was that Ten Hag, was it?
Ten Hag, yeah. Like, all these, like, big losses that he's had, like, how are people not seeing it? I'll tell you what, it's a good job we don't go into the podcast straight after the game, innit?
It'd probably be better for viewing figures, but... Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Game of Two Halves podcast. We're on episode 54, and we have just concluded the game week 6 of the 23-24 Premier League season. That being said, Bournemouth v Southampton is still to play at the time of recording.
Oh, yes.
Blockbuster Monday night game there. So we will be missing that one out. Probably wouldn't have covered it anyway. No offence to any fans of those teams. But
watch it. It'll be a 7-0 now.
It give like the most thrilling game of the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been another bad weekend to be a United fan. Nearly wore a different jumper coming in here today, but what can you do to back the team anyway, haven't we? But I did think better of it. Maybe there's some abuse coming our way on social media for my choice of clothing this week. But I'll let you kick us straight into the pod, as we always do now, with our interesting fact.
Yeah, so the interesting fact last week was the one where Walcott's got more goals than Ronaldo, R9.
In the Champions League.
In the Champions League, yeah. And we didn't know how many it was. Turns out, Walcott has 15, Ronaldo has 14.
Oh, so that's such a cop-out.
Yeah,
That's lower than I thought for R9.
He played about 40-odd or 50 games in Champions League, and he got 14.
Was that before it was the Champions League and it was European competition?
I'm not sure.
Maybe that's why it's so low. I don't really know. That time for it. Early 2000s, early to mid-2000s, was that his era?
I don't know what
I struggle with
details there
those
is,
time
but
frames, yeah.
I have got an updated fun fact for this week, though, and it is related to what we're going to go into straight away this pod. So, Tottenham and Liverpool have both scored more goals at Old Trafford than Man United this season.
Yeah.
3 goals.
Yeah.
United have scored 1.
Yes, in the league we beat Fulham 1-0, and our only other win in the league is Southampton away.
Yeah.
So we've actually lost more games 3-0 at home this season than we've won games.
Yeah.
Which ties into yours, that you just said. It's pretty terrible reading overall. I saw one today. I don't know to quote it exactly.
I mean, there is so many, considering it was just one game on the weekend. The amount of stats and stuff that's come out since then is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, we've got negative goal difference. In the last 15 matches in the league, Everton have amassed more points than we have, who narrowly avoided relegation. Obviously, I know they had a points deduction as well, but still not something that you want to be hearing as a United fan. I think from that, let's go straight into the match review then, because we're probably going to do United Spurs first, weren't we? I think it's probably the biggest talking point of the weekend.
So, home Premier League losses by more than 3 goals, or 3 or more goals. Ten Hag has played 41 home matches. He's lost by 3 or more goals 4 times.
At home?
Yes.
Right.
Alex Ferguson had 517 home matches. He lost by 3 or more goals 4 times.
Yeah, it's not good reading, is it?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had 55 home matches to Erik Ten Hag's 41 and lost by 3 or more goals twice.
Yes, it's a little bit better.
It is a little bit better.
Yeah.
David Moyes had 16 home matches and lost by 3 or more goals twice.
Oh, did he? I didn't. Those days are well out of my brain now.
And now you love this one. Jose Mourinho had 46 home matches and lost by 3 or more goals once. But we expect that of Jose because he's quite It's more negative manager, as you say.
It's more pragmatic football, isn't it?
Yes.
He sets up not to get beat
at
all, never mind in that manner.
There is also another one. So, Ten Hag's last 28 games at United, 10 losses, 42 goals, 40 conceded. Gary Neville's 28 games at Valencia, 11 losses, 39 goals, 38 conceded. So they are really similar.
It's really. I felt like going into the Spurs game this weekend was a chance to bounce back. I get sick of saying that because I feel like this manager and this team have needed a chance to bounce back so many times.
Yeah, but you'd say this game this weekend was the opportunity. You've got Spurs that play a high line. We do well on the counter. So you thought that this would be, they had no Son, but my God, were we wrong.
I think that's the worst performance of the season.
Yeah.
Not that is saying too much. I don't think some of them have been, people have said have been better because we've conceded less chances, blah, blah, blah. If that game shows you anything, and forget the fact that we were down to 10 men because we looked crap with 11.
Oh, let's not. It was a bad decision. Let's just draw a line there because the game wasn't affected by that.
No, we were already getting battered anyway. Could we have turned it round? Who knows? But I'm going to just write that off for the sake of this conversation. But I think we came out so flat. So many players were having a bit of a stink. I mean, we conceded 3 minutes in, and then we also conceded 2 minutes into the second half.
Yeah.
That's quite telling in itself that when we come out, when we're supposed to be up for it and ready to fight, that we're conceding not only chances, we're conceding goals.
Yeah.
I think
we were in the Stretford end, weren't we? And we were obviously next to each other. And we said that, at half time, we went, that is the worst performance we've seen since, last season, really.
Since God knows when. I think in terms of a half of football, though, maybe even if you don't look at the whole game, that first half's as bad as I've seen.
Yeah.
It's up there with the worst games I've seen.
We couldn't even, anyway. I don't even think we made a successful pass from my eyes. It was awful.
You know, when we were losing, I think we were losing 3-0 to Liverpool a couple of seasons ago at home at half time. That Spurs performance in the first half yesterday was worse.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that 3-0 against Liverpool and the fact you're 3-0 at half time is so much worse on paper, the performance yesterday at half time was miles worse.
Yeah.
It does feel like, I mean, not so much because I don't really know, based on the way that the club speak about it, and they do seem at this time of recording to be backing the manager and have been doing when we've had poor results recently. That feels like when Ollie had his last game, when Jose had his last game, that felt like that yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm not saying that meant he's going, but I just mean the general negativity and how everyone felt watching it and more coming away from the game. You know, we had a midweek match as well where we were pretty terrible.
The exact same thing happened.
Not pretty terrible, terrible result.
Well, the exact same thing happened where Van der Ven's run the length of the pitch, ran through our players like they weren't there. No one even put a foot on him or even went to him, in my eyes. And then in the FC20 game, the same thing happened, ran straight through us. And all last season, that same thing was happening. So the same things from last season are getting brought into this season when we thought it'd be brushed under the carpet with a new way of we've seen bits of a new way of playing, haven't we? With a 4-2-4 press, but the same things are creeping back in, and you can't allow that.
I think between the manager and the players, whatever tactics he tries to employ, even in little elements of the game, I'm not just saying the complete formation, but things like, for example, how he's trying to utilise Dalot as a centre mid in possession, like a lot of these good teams do, like Trent for Liverpool, and Guardiola's done it for years now. He started doing it with Cancelo years ago. Even, he sort of does it with Gvardiol now, and he gets really far forward when they're on the ball. We try and do that with Diogo Dalot, and it's not working. It's not the biggest of our issues, but every little decision that he tries to employ into the team like that, none of them work.
We were saying this, as we're watching the game, weren't we? And I turned to you and I went, What position does Dalot play now? He's a left winger, right winger, centre mid. He literally looks like he's a free roaming fullback. He just goes wherever.
When we're in possession, looks like they try and, fill the midfield with the extra man, like you say.
They fill the midfield with an extra man, but they can't. They don't have an option to play out. Well, maybe it is Spurs pressing really well, but we had no option.
We've looked like that in every game, haven't we? Really, yeah. I don't think there's been too many games where we've blown. Barnsley, we levered them, but that's a League One opposition.
Well, when I
And
said
Southampton are pretty much doomed to go down in my eyes, and they're
Yeah.
the only other team we've convincingly beat this year.
But when I'm not going to slate Dilly, even though we had a bit of a shocker, because every time our centre backs get the ball, I saw no urgency from Mainu to become free, no urgency from Agati to show for the ball, no urgency from anyone when them centre backs have the ball. And if them centre backs have the ball, and if you're even getting marked, run. Make movement so that guy follows you. It creates space for someone else, but there's no one. Like I watched Mainu as well, and I watched the two midfielders actually. When Dillit had the ball and he made like an extra touch and ended up getting pressed and booted it, and it got blocked and went for a throw in. And I remember it specifically because I was watching it and I was like, no one's showing for him, so I do not blame him. And I heard people around me going, "Oh mate, he's so shit. Like he can't even make a pass." I was like, "There's nothing on, honestly." And then when Martinez was getting the ball, there was nothing on for him either. If you looked at the game without looking at it in our eyes, you'd be like, "Them two centre backs are shite. They're having a shocker." But honestly, I have sympathy for him. I would not like to be a defender in Ten Hag's system. They've got no protection at all. They've got no passing options, and even when we get it up the field, it's like we don't know what we're doing. Like there's no organisation, and it reads a badly managed team. And Carragher pointed this out last season, saying it's the worst coached team in the league. And when you look at it and how it's been happening over 3 years now, you kind of agree with him.
Well, when people say to me, even people have said this season, we're looking like we've got a style of play, I disagree. I don't think anything's changed.
No, you saw signs of it.
But we're still... I know it's very early on in the season, so I'm not getting all negative, and you know me, I love it. I still go in thinking the team are going to win every week. I'm predicting to win the league every season. That's just part of the delusion of being a football fan. But if you sit down and being realistic, with performances like that, it could be our worst league table finish in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Because we don't look capable. I'm looking at our upcoming fixtures, and none of them look like feasible to get points out of. We got Brentford at home. Not convinced. Thomas Frank,
I wouldn't even go that far.
We've got a better coach team. We've got Villa away.
Yeah,
before
but
that.
I wouldn't even
That
I wouldn't even go as far as Brentford. If he doesn't win against Porto and Aston Villa, he's gone.
I don't think... I'm not convinced that they're going to make a decision like that, though.
If he loses 2-0 in both of them games, he is not seeing the next game. No way.
I think Porto away is a tough one, even if we're playing well, realistically. I think it's difficult to go and get a result away in Europe, unless you're a top team, which we're not.
Don't get me wrong, like the two oppositions, like Aston Villa are a good team.
They're a better team than us.
But if that's an embarrassment, it changes things. If that's a 4-0er...
I don't know what they then plan, though. I sort of believe them a little bit now, maybe naively so, that there seems to be these conversations where they've come out and said they're back the manager and they're moving forward. I kind of believe them. I think it would have to get really, really bad for them to be sacked.
What are you waiting for? Like, what are you waiting for?
I'm not saying
are you waiting for another 7-0 from Liverpool?
I'm not saying I'm agreeing with that.
No.
I won't be surprised if we see little to no action from the club with regards to the current form of the team. And
I'm fed up with it. I don't watch his interviews anymore.
No,
I don't watch his conferences.
I watched it on Match of the Day, but I didn't go out my way to watch it after the game. Obviously, we're at the game, so we kind of miss it on TV, don't we? At the time,
I always watch them like on YouTube, anywhere I can get them. I don't watch it anymore because I'm fed up with his excuses. And don't get me wrong, he didn't make any excuses this game. He said it was very poor and all this stuff. But just the way he talks, I'm like, and then he goes, I'm not worried about getting sacked because we're in it together. And it goes back to, do you remember when I said it to you and I said, what did I say? The master of manipulation, right?
No, I
actually think he's so manipulating.
No, but I do believe if he's had conversations with the club and they've said, I'm not saying it's true because every board will say this to their managers, you know, that we're going to believe you, we're backing you, you're going to be the man. All he's got to go off is that. And I think if what he's going off isn't true, the club would come out and say something. So
you can't just keep losing 3-0 and go, oh, the board are backing me.
You can't
just keep saying that.
For me, it's we've been on a downhill slump since the end of his first season. And even during that first season, we obviously won a trophy in the Carabao Cup against Newcastle. We lost the FA Cup final to City that year. And so if you look at it very, very under the magnifying glass, there was a point where ever since like Barcelona at home in his first season, we started going down and we've never come back from that.
Yeah.
We've had, I'm not saying we've not played well since. We've had the odd game. We played well in the FA Cup final last year. But ever since then, in terms of patterns of play, in terms of the squad being cohesive and getting together and building on results and having a run of form, I don't think we've ever had a run of form since then. We've been on a downhill slump since then, and it's only getting worse by the seams of it.
Someone said if Ten Hag got sacked tomorrow, you'll look back at it on his United career and say he was there for 2.5 years, 3 years, and you never knew what football he played.
No, I think that's true. I don't think you do. It's all over the place. It's open.
Unorganised.
We're so easy to play against. It's unbelievable. It's the complete opposite of what we had when we were under Mourinho, when he was shutting teams out.
Yeah. Did you spot as well, when Bruno was going off the pitch, they didn't know who to give the armband to?
No, I didn't clock it, no.
That's shocking. Like,
well, who is it?
They should know.
I know, but like at that point, Casemiro wasn't on, or Harry Maguire, who are two people you'd probably say gets it. Yeah. Who did get it? I didn't even say.
Martinez.
Right. Okay.
Well, you should know, like that. You're a team.
No, but
you
at
should
the same
know
time,
that.
Does every team know who their 5th or 6th in line to captain is? Because that probably doesn't happen to that many teams where they have to go down that. We've got your captains there, and your 2nd and 3rd captaincy options also aren't on the pitch.
Yeah, I know, but if they're on the bench and then Bruno's like on the pitch, you at least say who's vice. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I just think that's
maybe I'm being naive
a sign
there,
of unorganised.
Oh, maybe, but I wouldn't read into that too much personally. But with I think a sad thing to see, obviously I think the rival fans will love this because people hate Bruno Fernandes, is spending a lot of time with United fans from different backgrounds in the days leading up to the match, midweek, being at the game as well. There was a general sense of fan frustration about Bruno Fernandes' performances, despite the way that people handle. So like for me, as someone who loves Bruno Fernandes, not very pleased with his performances, but not fuming like some people are fuming. Going into that game, it felt like something, like, you know how I'm not going to talk about the red card specifically. We don't think it's a red card, but we're not going to delve into that because I want to speak more about the situation of United at the moment. But it felt like something like that was coming. There was people calling for him when I was in the pub before and stuff. People were saying, I don't think he should play. He should be dropped. And I'm not saying that's my opinion, but
yeah, but
for the fact that people are talking about that, yeah, but for the fact people are talking about our captain like that, to the point where everyone's frustrated at his performances of late, and then in a game that arguably is a must-win, he gets sent off. It felt like it couldn't have gone worse.
Yeah, but this is the worst. I'm not saying this is the worst we've seen Fernandes. This is the first time Fernandes has had a run of games poor form, yeah. And to hear fans turn on a player when he's only just... This is the first time he's ever had that sort of form. It's a bit weird.
But I think that's because a lot of them don't like him anyway.
Bit.
I think a lot of them don't like him anyway. People don't think he's a captain. They don't think...
To be fair, ever since he got the captain banned, I think he went worse.
Well, I think he is... This is the worst I've seen him play in terms... And I'm not even saying he's playing absolutely terrible, but the simple balls, or even if it's a pivotal moment where he's made a good turn and we've got to play that pass in, and normally you can count on him to do it, he's getting them wrong. So yeah, but it's difficult at the minute because if it's a telling sign to me that if he ain't playing, we're shit.
It is weird though, because when you say that, like Fernandes needs to be dropped, Fernandes isn't playing well. Okay, name me one player that's playing well.
No, I don't think there was a single player.
So Mazraoui, I feel sorry for him because he's actually been playing, he's been solid.
He's been better than the rest, or better than most.
But name me a player that's playing well.
On Sunday, I thought the best player on the pitch for us was Casemiro when he come on. And that isn't saying much because we were shit. But I thought he looked tidy on the ball, he's aggressive.
But I think that's because he's got dropped. And
you might be right, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe if you do start dropping players, but I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? The one thing that I really dislike, I know obviously everyone knows now, but they're playing out from the back and the stuff. So Tottenham were that high pressing us. Why not loft it in somewhere? Why do we have to keep playing it in between?
He didn't start the right team to do that.
No.
Or if he did, you don't go for your,
Tottenham play a high line and you're playing Xerxes that plays midfield.
Højlund should have started, or if he's not ready yet,
Rashford.
for whatever reason, Rashford starts through the middle. And then I know the managers rather play the player in position, or if that's going to be the case, leave Xerxes where he is. But our game plan all game should have been to get the wingers in behind.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as easy as saying this is the problem, that's the problem. The manager's not doing a great job. The players on the pitch aren't doing a great job. Something's got to change, and I personally don't think he'll be there by Christmas.
No. I also wanted to say about the... it's one thing getting tight to a player, like you always hear it, like get tight to him. That's to not allow him much movement, right? That's one thing. But diving in is another thing, and we're not getting tight, we're diving in. And Casemiro was doing it all last season.
But he's a player that
De Ligt's doing it now.
They're players that know better, especially Casemiro. I'm not saying he doesn't dive in, because
that's what I'm saying. Are they getting told that?
But he is a seasoned pro at the highest level. He's a very experienced player. So something they're getting told in the terms of the way we play. I mean, I think for a start, however Ten Hag wants us to play, we just simply can't do it, can we? Because half the signings are people now that he wanted.
It's his team now, and no excuse.
They can't do so it's not a case of going, he wants to play this way and he doesn't have the players to do it. He's bought players to play a certain way and we're still poor.
Yeah.
So you've got to put question marks next to him on that. I do think he's in the firing line, but based on the communications from the club, I'm not wholly convinced that they'll act, like I said before.
Yeah. So just before we move on, I did see an interview, right? And so just a quick question. Have you ever seen us have a good defensive block?
Under Ten Hag?
Yeah, excluding that FA Cup final, because I think you have to play that against City anyway. So just in a normal game, have you ever seen us defensively solid?
No, I think more often than not, we are very easy to play against.
Yeah, so it's always that pressing line, right? As soon as that midfield gets broken, they're like 5-on-2, yeah? More or less, that's what happens.
It happens often enough.
So I saw an interview with Luis Diaz, right, about Slot this season. And he said the main thing that Slot's changed with him, and they love it, he said, we have to defend a good defensive block, because if we defend a good defensive block, then we will attack well. And it got me thinking, I know it sounds simple, but we've never had a good defensive block with Ten Hag. Never.
Even some
I don't even think he knows how to... He was a defender, and he doesn't play.
No, even some games, though, where I've watched we might even defend okay for 60, 70 minutes, but there's always a mistake. There's always a moment that catches us out, and then we pay for it. So it's not that they're incapable in terms of are the players not good enough at doing that for whatever reason. I think it stems from absolutely everything else with the team. There's no consistency at all in performances. You've got players that are in and out of form, purple patches. You've got different players coming in. I'm not convinced he tries to play the same way all the time either. So
I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like, I don't mind a manager if he's getting results to play different now and again, because I think from what I've seen of Slot this season,
but Ten Hag,
I think he's played differently in different games, and I can actually see it.
Ten Hag can't master one system, never mind three, or four, or have different game plans. We can't perform in whatever his desired. If he thinks we're gonna, for example, dominate possession, and he's looking at a game and going, which albeit probably doesn't happen that often, he goes, this is the way we're going to play because we're going to have more than at the ball. This is how we're going to move, blah, blah, blah. I don't think we can even execute that when he's holding all the cards. Do you know what I mean? We're going into a game as favourites with better players at home, for example. Spurs wasn't that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, we have games like that where he gets tactically outdone by managers that people don't even rate very highly.
Not to be fair, you could see Slot have an absolute... a good season, and then he could do exactly what Ten Hag's doing next season and have a fall off. I'm not saying Slot's great, but you need like your way of playing, great, but you can also have tweaks every game so it's not the same. Because if you had the same way of playing, you'd get found out dead easy, wouldn't you?
Maybe,
but you don't even see that with him, like you say. So
maybe it's me being a bit negative and because of the recent performances that have been disappointing. But I would go as far to say that Arne Slot has proved himself as a better Premier League manager than Ten Hag already in 7 games. And maybe that, I hate to be that negative and I hate Liverpool, but can we really argue it? Yes, I know they lost the game against Forest, but they played well in that game still. They created a lot of chances and they've won games convincingly all season so far. So maybe I'll eat those words, and I hope I do because I'd rather that they fall off completely.
I mean, if Ten Hag gets a 2-0 win against Aston Villa, 2-0 win against Porto, he's back on track again, and it like the fans will be like, oh.
I can see this pressure mounting though now.
Yeah.
Can the players and the manager react?
I tell you what, it's a good job we don't go into the podcast straight after the game, innit?
It'd probably be better for viewing figures. But
I know we keep saying we're going to move on, but I'm just out of thought, the amount of games that we've had massive losses under Ten Hag is actually, I think it's just unacceptable now. And yes. I think it's at a point where this is what you start seeing fans say what we're saying, like, we're getting fed up. I was fed up last season, weren't I? But then I got in my head, because I talk to you all the time, I talk to all my mates and that, I got in my head that, do you know what, I'll give him another shot because he won a cup. And now it's getting to the point again. It's not took me long.
That's because the cup, like people said, don't get me wrong, the silverware is very important, especially when you're a big football club and team that expect
papering
to be
over
winning.
The cracks, though, isn't it?
It is. That is the perfect. I know it's been said to death, but it's the perfect way of explaining it because our league form last year was horrible.
And to be fair, he got very lucky in that cup semi-final against Coventry.
Yeah, well,
he shouldn't have even gone pens there.
We could have been out, and I do think we turned up and played well on the final day, but you also have to look at the fact that City weren't quite at the best. But I do think we came out and we played well, and whatever his game plan was on that day worked. But you can say, arguably, is this a trait of Ten Hag or Manchester United in general? Because there's been times post-Ferguson where we've been able to get a result over the good teams here and there, and we slip up more often against the lesser teams. Like, Spurs hadn't won at Old Trafford in God knows how long, had they?
Yeah,
until this year.
Yeah. 6-3 to City that time. It should have been 6-1 because we scored 2 90-minute goals.
Yeah.
The 7-0 from Liverpool.
Was that Ten Hag, was it?
Ten Hag, yeah. Like, all these, like, big losses that he's had, like, how are people not seeing it? Like, open your eyes.
Fans will talk about for years. And
4-0.
We just got to take it on the chin.
4-0 against Brighton, wasn't it?
4-0 against Brighton, yeah.
Like, honestly, it's ridiculous.
Who else beat us?
We need to open our eyes.
Palace 4-0 at the end of last season.
Yeah.
Away.
There's so many.
A great run of form there, but it's a telling sign that I have to go out my way to say that when I'm talking about Manchester United.
Even 3-0 against Spurs on the weekend, I think it adds to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's poor.
It's terrible. Apart from how bad United was, Spurs were very good. Van der Ven's getting his praise like he should be. I turned to you and I went, even when we conceded, I know, like probably I shouldn't, but I went, that guy is rapid. Because we said last season, didn't we, on the pod, and I think I told you that he clocked the fastest.
Yeah.
But yeah, unreal run. But then you look at it from the United view, and it is really bad defending. But give him praise. He still had to get there. Still good cross. Brennan Johnson's still in form, isn't he? 4-4, was it, or 5-5, something like that?
He's in form, but I mean, and I'm not being negative here, but it's a tap-in.
He's getting in the places, though.
But then he also had another shot that hit the woodwork.
Yeah.
Bar that, though, I mean, did he cause any problems? No. I mean, maybe I'm being...
I thought Maddison played well. Obviously, it is very difficult because we always see it, because we support United, we always see how bad the defending is.
Maddison had so much time and space.
Yes.
Even before Bruno got sent off, he had more space than anyone else on the pitch.
But do you know what their midfield was? They had Kulusevski, Bentancur in centre mid.
There's
You
someone else as
shouldn't
well,
be
didn't they?
getting beat by that. You made the Ange comparison in the game. Sorry. You made the Ange comparison in the game and you said he's a better manager than our manager, didn't you?
Yeah, I believe that, yeah.
Yeah.
I know he's not got necessarily the CV to back it up. He's won out in Australia and won with Celtic. I don't know much else about him. But from coming into Spurs last year, I know they had a big drop-off at one point in that season, but it was clear what he was trying to do. He got the players playing. They were playing some of the best football they've played in a long time, actually, I think. And I think they've got a clear... It's so... You know what you're getting with them week in, week out.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that's a
for most,
fantastic
but that's with any
achievement,
manager.
but you don't have that.
No.
In fact, you do. You know, week in, week out with Ten Hag's Manchester United, you're going to have a miserable time.
Just going on to the City-Arsenal debate, isn't it? Just by Rodri getting injured, does that make it more important now, more than ever, for Arsenal to win the league?
I think from an Arsenal fan's perspective anyway, they've got to be looking at this going, we can't have 3 title charges in a row and come away with nothing. And
They have got Odegaard in, haven't
I'd
they?
go out there, yes, they do. And they've had a few suspensions that they've picked up here and there.
But they're still getting the results.
They are, yeah, which is a big, big thing. I'm not sure how long Odegaard's out for, but he'll be a big miss. Obviously, captain of the team normally, one of the best creative players in the league as well. What I would say is, I strongly, with it being such a big injury to Rodri, unless, and how close it's been with Arsenal the last few years, and Liverpool look like they could be there as well. Unless City go and get somebody who is good enough in January window, they do not win the league this year. Because I think Rodri's that much of a miss, and we've seen before how they struggle without him.
Yeah,
I
but
can't see them winning it without him.
They started this season, I think the first 4 games they didn't have Rodri and they won them, didn't they?
Oh yeah, I'm not saying they won't win games, but I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah.
they'll beat Arsenal to the league
Yeah,
this
you've gotta
year,
be-
or Liverpool without Rodri for the duration of the season.
When it goes deeper into the Champions League, that's when you need him, isn't it?
They go and manage to get somebody that can drop in there and do a job. I'm not saying that City are going to be crap by any means. We know that's not the case, but in these fine margins where Arsenal have been very close, and Liverpool we know are capable of getting up there as well, that I don't think City win it this year now. They might prove me wrong, as they often go and win it
To be
again.
fair, even if they do win it, they'll get hit by them charges and not win it. So,
But yeah, I think they'll still be there or thereabouts. But my gut feeling is they get pipped to it this year,
yeah.
based on the fact Rodri's not around.
Arsenal still getting I watched them. Well, I watched obviously extended highlights and stuff, and I thought Arsenal obviously they were in control most of the game against Leicester. By the way, if you haven't already, go and watch Leicester's second goal, James Justin.
Yes, I have seen it. Yeah,
Have you seen it?
Yeah, on Twitter.
But Arsenal, I always say, "Oh, you lucky bastards." You know what I mean? But if you carry on doing it, you make your own luck.
You make your own luck. They're becoming. Ironically, because they've won nothing bar that FA Cup under Arteta early on into his Arsenal career. They play like winners now.
Yeah.
In terms of that's what league title winners do. Is they
Motivation,
get
innit?
results
Yeah.
in circumstances like where they found themselves against Leicester. And they've kind of been doing that for 2 years now. It's been moments where they've lost the chance to lift the title.
Yeah.
And on some occasions, it's pretty much been their performances against City who they're coming up against at the top of it. So
Arsenal have tried everything, I think. They've tried staring down the opposition in the tunnels, haven't they? I hated that. But they are getting closer, I think. I think they'll definitely... I think it is now more than ever, really. Obviously, you've got... If Pep leaves next season, you'd be like... Arteta, come on, you've got to win it now. Yeah.
But then, who's to say... Yeah, I think Liverpool will have something to say about that as well.
That's what I was going to ask you, actually, because obviously Liverpool didn't seem to get out of third gear against Wolves, and they still managed to get the victory. And I was just going to ask you, is it just Arsenal and City, or could Slot actually do it in his first season?
Could he actually win it?
Yeah.
Well, if you'd have asked me pre-season and it wasn't because of all the delusion, which people say it is, I thought Liverpool were really going to struggle with. They didn't make the signings in midfield that I still think that they needed, and I still think they do need. I don't
think they've been tested yet. I think they need to come against a really top team.
I still think they could find themselves throughout points of this season, because I know they're up there now. So it almost seems like some people will be like, they'll be saying like, oh, of course they can do it. They're already in first.
Well, Tottenham were in first, weren't they? Last season?
Yeah, you've got to see it out. What I would say, I think they'll be up there with Arsenal and City. Yeah, from what I've seen so far, I'd love it.
As close as Klopp was last season, or
could be better than that. Based on, I don't know. I think you look at the fact we've already seen Arsenal and City drop points against each other. City now dropping points this weekend. Liverpool, I know, have been beat as well, but I think we're still pretty good in that game. Arsenal dropped points at Brighton as well as against City. It might not be as high a points tally this year, maybe not. I know maybe that's an over-exaggeration 6 games in because they've not won every single match. But we have become used to watching these teams literally win every single match nearly.
Yeah.
So, as it stands, I put them 3 away from the pack on their own. I still think I'd favour Arsenal with the lack of Rodri at Manchester City. Arsenal over Liverpool because there is still an unknown there in it being this early into Slot's regime.
Yeah, and Arsenal have obviously got second place twice in a row, haven't they? They've got to make that next step now.
But Slot's Liverpool so far do look capable, I think.
Yeah, well, every time, I think there's one game, I think it was Champions League, or was it in the Prem? When they've won the game, they've kept the clean sheet.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's massive,
and I think if they can keep Konate and Van Dijk fit for the duration of the season, it's a massive, massive plus. Same for Arsenal, with their centre back pairing.
Yes, I always said, to be fair, like if you get a Van Dijk injury, you can write your chances off. I think he's so vital in that.
But it's the irony, isn't it, with Manchester City, because apart from Rodri, I'd say they could lose any other player and they'll still be fantastic. I'm not saying they're not going to win the league.
To be fair, if they lose Haaland as well, I don't
only
see
now because they don't have Alvarez anymore. But that for a fact that team can play without a striker and win games.
Yeah,
they can drop Edison and have Ortega in and win games. They did it for points last season. They've got centre backs galore. Half of them play at full back. I think all over the pitch they've got good enough depth to win football matches. Apart from Rodri, and it just so happens for them that he is the one out with a long-term injury.
Yeah, and if you look at it, they haven't even got a defensive midfielder, have they? Well, they've been playing Kovacic there.
Yeah, well, he is he does strike. He has that in his game for me. Obviously, they had Calvin Phillips, but he was never really at the level at City.
And now it seems like they need him.
Maybe, but then it never really happened for him, did it? I don't know.
To be fair, even when Rodri weren't playing, he weren't playing, was he? So
no, he didn't fancy him. After he signed him, something changed and he really didn't fancy him.
Okay, so I want to ask you who's impressed you the most team first.
Okay, so this one, the team, based on, I'm going to keep this in line with my predictions I made earlier in the season because I think that's fair. So I suppose I could even say Liverpool, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Because I had them struggling without Klopp. But I'm going to go with Chelsea.
So I've gone Chelsea as well.
Because I had them mid-table I thought it's going to be the same as last year. They'll have good moments and they'll fall away. But I think they've started really strong.
The only reason why... Because I had Liverpool as the honourable mention, right? Because obviously I'm with you. I didn't have them to finish in top 4. They still might not, but
so far,
yeah. So the reason why I haven't gone Liverpool is because I'm just waiting for that tester. As soon as they get that tester, and don't get me wrong,
and maybe just a bit more time in general, just to completely,
Don't get me wrong. Like Chelsea haven't really had that test. They've had the first game of the season at City, and to be fair, they didn't play that bad. They was all right. But there's a difference. Chelsea have beaten Wolves 6-2.
They're capable of absolutely hammering.
Yeah, they've got some big results so far, like as in like score lines.
Yeah. Which
so
is
far,
when you say impressive, that is impressive to me.
Yeah.
City do it, but we are used to seeing City do it.
Yeah, especially with a new manager, and maybe that is down to Palmer scoring 4 a game, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I've got Chelsea as well. I think I didn't expect them to hit it off like they have, and they have got, from what you say, like you can say what you want about them, but they have got a decent team now. They've got some good depth as well.
No, they've got a fantastic team. The amount of unbelievable players they've got, it's just a case of they weren't a team.
Well, if
they can become one, then they're a real problem.
Yeah.
Which it looks like they might be able to. But again, we've gone a bit early on that, but I think that's fair because we both sort of didn't see them really causing problems.
Well, we said before the season, didn't we? Said if they do, like, don't get me wrong, like they had so many players and it's a mess. But if Maresca can get that mess playing like a team, they could be set for years, couldn't they? Really?
Yeah. Well, because how young a lot of the players are.
That's what I mean. He's invested in the youngsters, and I think he saw the long-term plan. Obviously, we all just see it as a mess at the minute, but if he can get it playing,
I still think it's a mess.
It is, but he's obviously, do you know where
they're chasing dollar signs, not wins. They're making investments that they can be profitable on, but it doesn't mean that they can't simultaneously win on the pitch if the manager can get it right.
Yeah. How many of them players that are second fiddle now going to be happy to be second fiddle for the whole 7-year contract?
Well, yeah, and the fact most of them are so young is what they'll be hoping is whichever ones we do sell, we turn a profit on.
Yeah.
And the ones that come into the team and do well, worst case scenario is we sell them and turn a profit on them.
Yeah, well, I thought that Chukwuemeka was a really good talent of what I've seen from him. And Maresca's come out saying there's no space for you, you're going, so...
Well, even like, is it Trevor Chalobah that they're not really utilising at the moment, and he looked quite good towards the end of last season.
Yeah, he's not even in the team, is he? He's wanting him gone, so they got rid of Gallagher, they're wanting Chalobah gone because it's like in their...
It's in their best interest to get rid of him, isn't it?
Yeah, Chukwuemeka now, so... Yeah, there's some good players up for grabs there at Chelsea, but we'll see how they get on, but they have impressed.
Yeah, they've been good.
What about your player?
Bit boring. I've gone for Cole Palmer. Maybe that's recency bias off the 4 goal.
Oh no, I haven't. No.
Because I was having a conversation with someone on Instagram actually. I know Haaland's got 9 goals or whatever it is. But with performances like that, and then you look at a free kick, ice cold with a penalty, can score with both feet.
You see that free kick?
Is he
bloody good free kick?
Is he the best player in the league right now?
I think
certainly
so.
one of, if he's not the best.
I think so, yeah.
And I'm not saying that with any disrespect to any other players, but I'm saying you look at the performances right now. 4 goals in, he could have had even more.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. My honourable mention, because I do think Cole Palmer is a bit of a boring shout, but my reasoning, not just because of the form, is also, were we going to see him replicate last year's form?
Yeah.
Well, he's answered that already, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But that's why I still choose him, and in line with the fact I chose Chelsea's team. Aside from that, the player I've been most impressed with is Morgan Rogers. Not someone I knew a lot about, so I'm guessing he was your pick, was he?
No,
that smile was making me think that you picked him for yours.
He was an honourable mention.
Okay.
Because he's not up there with the statistics.
It's on the eye test, this guy.
Oh, honestly, when you watch him, like I think he's got like 1 goal or 2 goals.
Well,
and it's like,
everyone put him in FPL because he looked good and he's cheap, and he finally got his goal this weekend.
Yeah. But like you say, you put him in FPL, but I don't even think he's going to get you the points. I wouldn't even put him in.
No, but it's just how cheap he is. You like.
Yeah. But when you watch him, like he does a lot that doesn't get noticed by people that wouldn't watch the games. Do you know what I mean? So
that's what I mean. He's not your typical man for the stats with your goals and assists. But if you're watching him play, like you say, that's where the eye test is king when it comes to watching players and picking out who you think is going to be, a good player in the future. And this guy's going to be a fantastic player in the future, but he already looks quality already.
Yeah. So I had 2 Villa players that were honourable mentions before I get to my player. And it was Rodgers and Duran.
Yeah, he's been very good
For
actually.
the little playing time that Duran's had, and he's always coming on.
Some fantastic
goals
goals as well.
Yeah, like he's really honourable mention. But I think I'll go with this guy just to give him a good shout out, because I mentioned him last season when we did a video on Liverpool and who they should buy. I'm going to go with Mbeumo.
He scored in the first minute 3 weeks in a row.
No, he
2 weeks
He
in a
hasn't.
row.
No, Brentford have done it. 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row he has,
yes.
but they've scored in the first minute 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
That's
I think
pretty,
like 2 22-second goals and then the other one.
pretty crazy, that, isn't it?
It is. It's like he does it in his tactics now. But Mbeumo's on 5 goals already. So
To anything, it proves to me, because I think when we did our predictions, we both had Brentford doing a bit better, because I think they had a bit of an off year last year.
yeah, and Mbeumo got injured quite early last season for most of the season. So
To me, it's just, despite the fact he's a fantastic player, I think a lot of credit should go to Thomas Frank as well, because I do think he is a very underrated manager.
Yeah.
And I think that got jaded a little bit because they didn't quite have as good a season last year as what they'd had a couple of seasons before.
did you ever see Thomas Frank complaining that he hasn't got his players last season?
No. But I've seen him complaining about some things, so it does my head in.
Yeah, well, yeah. But Mbeumo, just thought I'd shout him out. 5 goals already. I think he's been playing really well. I said that I've said Liverpool should have grabbed him last season, just as Salah's second fiddle for when Salah does decide to go.
But then they went and got Chiesa.
But Kiesa's not a right winger anyway. He's a left winger, really. So
I think they could utilise him on either side, though. I think you'll probably see them do that.
yeah. But even so, I'll say Mbeumo will have another good season this season, because he had a good season before last season.
Yes, yeah.
And then got injured last season. But if he has another good season this season, I think he gets a move at the end of the season.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't surprise me. Brentford will do well out with that, I would assume.
Yeah. I
don't know what they bought him for, but
probably cheap.
he was there when they
He was
came
there in the
up
Championship.
from
Yeah.
the Championship, yeah.
Do you know, like, this day and age, we've got slangs for, like, stuff. Like, you've got the red flags, you've got icks. What was the one that you mentioned before? The woke stuff.
Oh, yeah, utter woke nonsense football.
Yeah, so
football style.
there's a lot of this stuff nowadays, isn't there? So I just thought we'll have a bit of fun with it, and I'll just give you a bit of a task to come up with any red flags, or if you want to word it a different way.
Yeah, I've got a few that fit the mould of of all of those. We'll go with red flag first, because this one was the first thing that came to mind when you said this for the pod this week. So this one is, what do I think is a red flag when I meet someone and speak to them about football that tells me you have no ball knowledge?
Ah, okay, that's good.
And a red
Go on
flag
then. Yeah.
is when you start talking to them. I've seen other people say this before, but this is bang on. First thing that comes to mind. When you start speaking to them and you talk about a player or a team and they reference FIFA. It's the first thing they speak about. And I'm like, you don't watch football, do you? Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not saying, like, I watch a lot of football and play a lot of FIFA.
Yeah.
But I never go, well, yeah, but he's pretty quick on FIFA. Or like,
Yes, I know what you mean.
or they're like, oh, United should go out and sign so-and-so just because they're a fast-paced merchant on FIFA. Like,
yeah, and he's a wonder kid on FM. I've heard you see that one.
Yeah, see, that's all right, because FM know what they're talking about.
Yeah, to be fair, you trust them more than FIFA, don't you?
Yeah, but that one to me is just a straight, immediate red flag to be like, no.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because there is a lot of signs where if you're talking to someone, you know that they just don't watch football.
I think there's a lot of casual football fans that play a lot of FIFA. That's, I suppose, where I'm coming from with
Do you
that.
know what one's similar to that as well? Like, do you know, I don't know, what's a player that's got a lot of goals this season that's like average? So say I don't know, Luis Diaz. He's got quite a lot of goals, but I won't say he's average. I think he's quite
he's
good.
backpedaling now.
No, I think he's quite good, but he's
You
not.
wouldn't put him in a world-class bracket?
No.
Okay.
Thanks for digging me out there.
Yeah, you're right.
But you would get someone, say you go to the pub and someone that doesn't really watch football, they act like they do and go, Diaz is like world class, he's better than Palmer. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's a red flag. Like, you just know that they're just not watching football.
Yeah, I think there's
but they act like they do because they're looking at statistics.
Or
That's why I
they
say Morgan Rogers, mate.
Yeah. Or they watch the 2-minute YouTube highlight videos of even just their own team. Like, they don't even watch their own team's 90 minutes all the time.
Or they see posts on Twitter and go off them. Like, if
like
someone
stats and stuff like that.
Yeah, if someone said that, they'll just say that, so yeah.
Yeah, that almost ties into something else I've got, but we'll come back to that.
Okay. Do you want me to give you some examples of what I've found online?
Yeah, go on. I come up with some as well, but that was my only one that I'd say fits the red flag mold. My other ones are a bit different.
A bit like icks and stuff
like that I just don't like within football.
Levi asked me, give me an example just so I can like work off it what you mean. And I said, I don't know, red flag maybe when your manager brings in all the players that you used to work with at another club.
Yeah. Well, do you know what the
That's
thing
a red
is with
flag.
that? When is that in the Premier League? When has that ever worked?
I don't think it's ever happened.
Like,
he's brought 5 players.
No, but I bet there's maybe not that many players, but there's multiple examples of managers bringing players.
we've got a few red flags online here. Don't know how good these are. I haven't really read them. Just thought I'd take them from online. So one's got, babe, let's go see Champions League final tonight. And then her, don't worry, I'll stay back. You know I don't like football. Moments later, baby, don't go. Is the match more important than me? Oh, that's a red flag. I don't see that scenario ever happening.
That is a red flag, but in a different way.
One goes, if he or she supports Man United.
Oh. Walking red flags.
We're walking red flags, Levi.
Walking red shirts.
Maybe it suits us. When you ask about a midfielder's best qualities and it involves scenarios where other people have the ball, nothing related to their midfield qualities. A red flag is born, they said.
A red flag is born?
Yeah, when they hear that. So that's like you going up to Kobbie Mainoo and saying, what's your best qualities as a midfielder? And he'll go, well, when I have wingers running down the wing, that's when I can pick them out. That's like a red flag, apparently. It should be, well, I'm composed on the ball, I do this and all that. That's what it should be. I don't know. It didn't really make sense to me. You've got another one saying, I support the red side of Manchester, with a load of red flags after it. I don't think they like United fans.
No, well, people just don't, do they? They hate us.
One's got, I don't like football. It's just a red flag.
That is a red flag.
It is a red flag.
I'm not a fan of that.
I saw one where you start work at a new place.
Bang on, that is.
And you go, no, when someone starts work at your place and you go, oh, what football team do you support? And they go, I don't like football. You're like, all right, see you in a bit.
It was nice to meet you, but that'll probably be our last engagement that we ever have.
It is true, isn't it, that? Let's see if there's another one. Oh, replying during a game is a red flag. If he loses interest in his football club to message a girl, what makes you think he won't lose interest in you messaging another girl?
Is that to imply you're at the football? Because I never touch my phone until half time.
No, I don't.
And even then, half the time, I don't bother.
To be fair, when I'm at the football, even at half time, I don't touch my phone.
So only time I use it
I'll reply if I'm here.
Is when it's like there's other games on, and I'm like, oh, I'll see what the scores are in the other matches. But I don't reply to messages.
I won't. I probably, if I'm watching United and it's interesting, or whatever, just normal.
Some
actually.
games I ignore my phone entirely. Some games I'll
message you back at half time.
Yeah, or sometimes I'll send a few as it's going on, but when I'm at home watching it, not when I've never done it at the game.
Yeah. So it's not a red flag if you're at home and you.
I think it's questionable if you're consistently just chatting away while she's supposed to be watching the football. Yeah. I think it's a red flag for you being a proper football fan, I guess.
I think it's a red flag. I'll go further then. I think it's a red flag if you FaceTime while it's on.
Yeah, that stinks. Yeah. It's a red flag if someone expects you to as well. Yeah. Because just leave him for 90 minutes.
Yeah. Let him be. Just wants his 90 minutes to watch United get beat 3-0. That's all he wants.
Just want peace.
So, when a man says, I don't get the hype behind football, that's similar to what we said. Yeah.
I'm guessing we've got nobody watching here that isn't a football fan, so we're not going to offend anybody with those. If you are and you found yourself here, then thanks.
What are you doing?
Thanks, but
what are you doing here?
It's probably not for you.
One is here actually saying, I don't watch football. We wrote a load of red flags.
I've got some here that I come up with, but the red flags mightn't be a bit of a harsh critic for these. But just things that I don't really like in football. And I'll even go into a bit of detail on these because I'm not, if you do or partake in any of these things, I'm not icing you out because there's a few caveats where I accept it. So another one, and this is a fucking obvious one, is the half and half scarf wearing.
Oh, do you know what happened as well? Before the game, I was, because I drove, didn't I, on Sunday, I saw two lads going at half and half. I was like, what are you doing?
The only reason I'll accept it, and this isn't like trying to be a bigger or better fan than anyone else, is if you're a bit of a casual and you've just gone to the game because it's an experience.
Yeah, and it's like a Real Madrid United. And
you've picked it, or even if it's like you've gone and it's your first one or you want to collect them. But for me, then, you don't wear it around your neck because it's got another team's crest on it. Especially like when you look at like the league games, you know, you get people buying them for like the derby and stuff like that. So I can't get behind that.
No, you can't have City on your neck, can you?
No, but it's like, all right, maybe you buy them for your kid and they keep it and it's the first match. I'll accept stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like when I'm seeing fully grown men that are actual supposed avid supporters of that club wearing a half and half scarf, I can't get on board with that.
No.
In a similar vein, if you're above primary school age and you have your own name on your shirt, like you have a United shirt with Bowers on the back, like as an adult,
I've got it. No, I'm joking.
Like that, I can't get on board with it. And
I go and bring one in now.
I feel, it's one of that. I feel sorry for blokes when I see, like they've bought them what the other half or the kids have bought them as a present, like a t-shirt. It says "Daddy" on the back, and I'm like,
yeah.
I get it. I wouldn't be wearing that anywhere other than the living room, and even then, I'd be feeling a bit bait about it. It's like, it's a nice sentiment, but fuck me, I wouldn't be rocking up to the game wearing that. It's like Dad, and then it's a number one, and it's not even a goalkeeper. Like, I fucking hate it.
Oh, it's not even the goalkeeper kit, yeah.
It's like, you can't be number one and you're not a goalkeeper. That's the least of the problems.
You'd have to be number two, and then you're like, am I?
Or like, say, I don't know, someone's name's like fucking, his nickname's Steve-O, and you see him at a game like Steve-O, number fucking 45 or something. I'm like, fucking, come on, mate.
There was that United guy that played in net, didn't he? Do you know the United supporters group? He's got a fat man on the back, hasn't he?
Yeah, stuff like that's quite funny, to be fair. But yeah, that's something I can't get on board with. I don't, because I know a lot of people say like you shouldn't get players' names on the back. I don't really care if people do that because I
think that's all right.
And I look at it from the point of view where it's like I do that when I buy shirts like that, like some of the ones we've had up in here.
Yeah, like skulls on the back and stuff.
It's stuff to keep. It's again, I probably wouldn't ever wear it to a match. Which seems funny because so many people wear shirts to games.
To be fair, I don't wear shirts to games. I wear my own clothes.
I sometimes, like, I'll wear something like this where it's got something United related, or I wear like a coat that's got the United badge on.
Yeah.
But I never really, since I was a lot younger, have rocked up wearing a shirt. I've done it in the past, but I'd never do it now.
To be fair, I think it's probably one of the reasons is we normally go out in Manchester after.
That is a considerable part to it because you're not going to go out wearing
United shirt. Yeah.
I think irrespective of the result, you don't know where you can get in. You don't know what knobhead you're going to see about. It's just not worth doing. But yeah, I can't. That's not a red flag. But again, it's just not for me. And then I've got one that's a bit. It's just one thing that I hate about football fans.
There's full kit wankers as well that you don't like.
There is, yeah. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that, especially not to the game.
Yeah,
like, kids I'll allow.
Oh my
kids
god,
can
to
do
the
what
game.
they want. No, but you see kids full kit to the game, and I'm like, that's fine.
Yes,
that's kids.
Let the kids do it.
That's the kids can do what they want. They're supposed to enjoy it. If you're a fully grown man, there's no way there's many fully grown men or women going to the game with fucking short socks a lot.
I'm definitely getting you a shirt for Christmas with your name on back.
Please don't. It will be staying on this set as much as I'd appreciate the game.
Put it on there, yeah. Put it behind
you. So this one now, I've seen a lot of speculation about this online, so I was just going to sort of weigh in a little bit, because I know it's always... I've got to tread the line carefully here. But personally, if I'm having a debate with somebody about something football related, that's obviously for the most part opinion based, right? I know there's facts to a degree because you've got your league finishes, you've got the amount of wins, losses, but you can have conversations that it's everyone's opinion.
Oh, is this coming into the pod here?
No,
am I going to be a red flag?
No. to me, it's not a red flag, but I'm going to be a bit harsh here and say, but I'm going to try and explain myself. Is if somebody's like telling me about or giving me, do you know when people have banter with you, which I love in football, like banter about their team and stuff, but then they like proper like give you shit, and it's banter, and I just like brush it off. When I was younger, you probably get a bit wound up by it, but as an adult, it's just like, who cares?
Like Dave, to me.
Yeah, like it's just a laugh in it, but like I think one of the reasons it doesn't wind me up is if they don't support their team and make any effort to go and watch them, what they say doesn't matter to me. And that sounds like I'm making myself say, because I go to the games, I think I'm above you. That's not the case. Like, but if but there is an element of that, I think. If they don't make the effort to either watch their games consistently, even just on the TV, like every match they're watching, but at least have some want to go to a game, even if they can't afford to or do it. If they don't really have that about them, and then they're trying to give me shit about, oh, your team shit, blah blah blah. Yeah. I'm just like, I don't care because you don't make the effort.
I've just by you saying that, I've just thought of one. When I say how good a player is, say Morgan Rogers, and then that person tries to make it out like I'm thick, but he doesn't watch them.
Yeah, they don't watch.
So I've watched the more football and seen this guy more.
Yeah.
He doesn't watch their games, but he's making it out like I'm...
That's exactly what I sort of mean. So like I reckon it's absolutely fine to be a more casual football fan. There's no expectancy. It's certainly when you get to an older age where you might be settling down, you might have a family, you've got work, maybe you can't afford it. There's no obligation that you have to watch every match, buy the shirt, whatever you class as a thing to be a football fan. But there's some of those football fans that they want to give you all the banter because they support City or Liverpool. That's just the examples I'm making because they're based on where we live. That's more common. Yeah. And they're like, well, you're shit and you're blah, 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 and our player, so-and-so's miles better than you. And then they're giving you shit, oh, you lost today, we won. And I'm like, you brand yourself as that football fan, but you don't even watch football. And I'm just like, I just let it go straight over my head.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why would what you're saying bother me when you actually don't care?
The other one that you mentioned before, you said it was more like an ick, didn't you? Do you know when they walk around the badge on the floor?
Oh, the players, yeah. That's the woke nonsense.
Yeah, so Rio Ferdinand was bad for this.
Yeah.
He was very bad. Rio, if you're watching, you're a walking red flag.
What I want to see is, we're double mentioning him this week, and Herrera, you threw him out before. I want to see what he did and spitting on it.
Oh yeah,
that's what I want to see.
Yeah. Whose crest was it? Was it Madrid's? It might have been someone worse than Madrid.
People walk around like the City badge. I'm like, for one, it's not even the old badge. Like,
no, but
where people like,
Rio
respect the badge. Rio did it to Madrid.
Was it Madrid?
Yeah. It was like a Champions League night.
Do you know what made that worse? Like,
he knew that was going to bait people. That's why he did it.
Yeah. I was like, fair enough doing it, whatever. Each their own. Obviously, Levi thinks it's a nick anyway. But it's the fact that he didn't cut the video down because he went, oh yeah, cheers, mate, for video in it. So he's like, record this for me. Walked over there and missed it. He could have cut that little bit of the video out, maybe. But
yeah, I suppose what I was saying with my other one, and to try and summarise it and not be a knob, is if you're a bit of a casual fan, I don't really care what you think. I don't like.
Well, that's what you said before, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but like not in it, and that's not to me saying that just because you don't go to games, that may come as an element to it. But if like you don't really watch it at all, but you're just like, I'm a City fan because, or I'm a Liverpool fan, or even United fans are like this as well. I'm just not saying that because it's us, but where they dish it out and give people shit because they're winning at that point in time.
No, I understand if people can't go to the game, but at least watch on TV.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Where they'll say like, "Oh, I support so and so," and the only time they ever weigh in is when they're on the up and everyone else is down.
Yeah,
like they're not real football fans. So when people do that, it doesn't really. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't value your opinion on football.
Yeah.
And if you don't
I
value
agree.
mine, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Well, at least you've watched the games.
Yes. Sadly, for us at the moment.
Right, shall we go into Super 6 Fantasy?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if we can do Super 6 yet, can we? Just check if it's open.
I will look.
And we'll do it live.
I feel like we should be able to, because I don't think this Bournemouth-Southampton game is going to be part of it. So.
Well, there is a red flag according to Fantasy here.
Oh, yeah?
The quotations are, I've never blanked when using a triple captain. That's a red flag.
I've never... That's a red flag.
Yeah, because that's basically saying everyone has triple captained and blanked before. So if you haven't, it's a red flag because you're that rare.
I've blanked every time.
Exactly, so you're not a red flag.
But I am a United fan, so I am.
Yes,
so.
yeah.
Super 6 is out, and it's for the midweek games, so we actually have to do it before Tuesday anyway.
Oh, God.
So it's a little bit different for the pod, because we've never done...
So you'll hear about it when the results are in, I guess.
Well, 2 games...
Maybe.
3 games are on Tuesday, so by the time this airs, you'll know how good or poor our predictions were anyway.
And then we're a red flag because we know nothing about football.
Yet we sit here and talk about it for an hour and speaking to whoever will click on it.
Oh, that reminds me. Like and subscribe.
Yeah. If you're here, great, thank you.
Right, kick it off then.
Arsenal PSG.
Oh, it's got to be a 2-1 on that.
I'm going Arsenal 3-1.
Fucking hell, what team's that?
Slovan Bratislava versus City.
It's got to be a 2-0 win to Slavan, hasn't it?
Oh my goodness.
Nah,
It's
I'll go
bold
3.
strategy, Cotton.
I'll go 3-0 to City.
I'm going 4-1 to City.
You think they'll get a goal?
Yeah, why not? City seem to leak goals here and there, don't they?
Yeah.
Despite the fact the quality.
Dortmund Celtic.
I'm going to go 2-0 Dortmund.
Gone 2-2.
Oh, yeah?
Always throw a draw in now and again.
I've not got that much faith in Celtic, I'm afraid.
I saw him in the only thing I've seen of Celtic is the friendly against City. They scored like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Liverpool Bologna then. No Xerxes.
No, not sure that he'd get a goal for him anyway off the basis of his scoring form for us at the moment. I'm going 3-0 Liverpool.
I'll go 2. They love a clean sheet.
This is an interesting one, the next one.
Do you know what? If it's on, I'm watching this.
I've cancelled TNT Sports, so if I can get a shit stream somewhere, I'll watch it too.
You didn't hear that, cops. The feds. Feds are here.
I mean, I'll go to the pub and watch this game.
Well,
If it's
the
televised.
pub shouldn't be on. Well, right, yeah. Right, okay.
It is an 8 o'clock, it should be on.
Yeah. What do you reckon? Aston Villa, Bayern?
I'm going to go Bayern 4-1.
You think Villa will get a spanking?
Yeah, I don't think... Listen, they're a good team, but in my eyes, they're nowhere near that level.
I think Villa get the first goal, then Bayern get 3.
I might be wrong, like I say, but my gut feeling is they'll set up to try and keep them out and they'll just have far too much for them and they'll end up getting a bit carried away.
Yeah. I've gone 2-1 to Real Madrid against Lille.
I've gone 2-0, yeah.
Okay. What minute? The other one was scored by Mbermo. So Brentford aren't playing, so we don't have to go first minute.
Well, I was going to say, if Brentford were playing, I was definitely going first minute. I'm going to go for the 3rd minute.
I'll go 8th.
So that is locked in. Don't copy me, because then I'm going to have to share my 250 grand with you losers.
Well, they can't copy it because it'll be out after.
The money is mine. They're all listening. I didn't get one right, imagine. Speaking of which, in the Game of Two Halves League, I am currently 7th.
Where am I?
You are currently...
I do bad on Super
I love the
6.
fact I have to click the down arrow and scroll to find you. You are currently 23rd.
It's a bit harsh.
Have you missed one at all?
No, I might as well have.
I'm 14 points off top. I'm on 81. You are on 62 at the moment.
Right, well, I'll raise you and we'll go into the Fantasy League. I have to scroll down for you.
Is that the case?
Yeah. You're 20th, I'm 13th.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No. But I think you was ahead of me and I've overtook you because I don't think you've had a good week, have you? Well, 52 is not bad.
No, I've had 2 green arrows, so I think I've been
Oh,
on
have
the
you?
up. But you might have just done better. But on the whole, I've been doing better the last few weeks.
69.
Failing to select a good captain 3 or 4 weeks in a row now. Went to Haaland just because I had FOMO, really.
Yeah. I went to Haaland because I was fed up of it and not having him. But then he doesn't. It's normal, isn't it? That's what happens.
Yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Jordan Dowse is in third with 86.
Jordan Dowse is in third.
Yeah.
Are we in the alternate reality?
He's actually trying this season. And then Ashley Bowers is still second.
I'm going to be nasty to you here, Dowse. 68 in our league. You're third at the minute. I don't think you get a top 15 finish.
Oh.
Just like Ashley Bowers. I'm talking to you guys directly now, because when you lose interest, you'll fall and fall down the Game of 2 Hours league, and we will rise. Well, I will. Bowers will fall too.
Yeah, but you're just doing that tactic what you did last season where you give them shit and then they fall down.
No, I just know the longevity as well. They'll both get bored when they have a couple of weeks at stake. I might well get him back at some point. But
can I just give like a good shout out here? Right. I think this is probably the worst out of everyone that's playing.
Oh,
I
God.
think it's got to be Huff's team.
Oh no, this is a dedicated listener to the channel and a good friend.
He got 32 points.
Did he have Palmer?
No, he took Palmer out.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you were going to make a joke like he got 32 and he had Palmer, got 25 of them.
No, but it's quite funny because he was round here when he said it. So his goalkeeper's got 2. He's then got, he said all his team's got 1 point.
All of his team.
Near enough. He's got, obviously Gavardio got the goal, which is 9. So I told him if Gavardio didn't get his goal, you'd be fucking fucked. But he had Rodgers and Gavardio that got the goals. The rest got Trent Alexander got 1, Gabriel got 1, Colwill got 1, Luis Diaz got 2, Saka got 6 because he captained him. Darwin Núñez got 0, and Haaland got 2. I went, that's
my transfer business did not look good. I went Salah, João Pedro, and Robinson out for Gabriel blank, Diaz blank, Havertz goal. So it wasn't terrible, but I didn't really gain any points for making my transfers this week.
To be fair, you took Robinson out. I kept him in. He got 7.
Yeah, so I took him and Salah out, and they both got points this week. So
yeah,
that was for this week. Hopefully we were nice and upbeat despite the fact Spurs beat us 3-0 and we're on a pretty torrid time, and I kind of want the season to be over already and 6 games in. But let's see. Maybe the tides will turn. I think something's got to happen. There's got to be a reaction in some department on United's side of things. Other than that, we've got another game week and Champions League midweek, and then we've got an international break again, which is terrible.
Fun.
But United can't ruin your weekend when they're not playing.
No.
I'll speak my words out in a minute. Today, Junior.
Today.
But as always, if you're watching or listening, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming back. If you're new and you enjoyed it and you've got this far, feel free to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll release the pod every single week. There'll be new videos dropping soon as well.
Looking to bring interviews as well.
Yes. No time scale for now. Not promising and not delivering, but we'll keep you posted.
But once one comes, hopefully they'll keep coming.
It'll snowball.
Yeah, we're trying to get like different areas as well. So like stuff that you wouldn't think of. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we'll explain more in the future.
Yeah. If you're listening on Spotify, you can rate the podcast. We would very much appreciate if you rate it 4 stars. 4 stars. Please don't do that. Please rate it 5. You can also follow on Spotify so you don't miss an episode. Same goes for Apple Podcasts. You can follow on there if you take your content in that way. Other than that, we'll have short form on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. So feel free to follow us on all those socials if you don't have an hour to spare for the podcast. But other than that, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.